Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Thomas and welcome back to the channel. This is video number 5 in my 7-day challenge. I'm getting there, almost through this thing. Today's video is going to be on my sources of inspiration and potential sources of inspiration for you. Inspiration is really important for anyone. It's important for many different people. It's important for many different career paths. But it's especially important for designers and creatives. We need to stay inspired. We need sources of inspiration in order to do our job. And this can be tricky, especially during times like this. I did another video on this as well, and I'll link that here on staying inspired. But you need to have sources of inspiration on the ready that you can access at any point when you're just not feeling it, when you just need that extra kick to keep going and to create something new. So what is a source of inspiration? Really anything. It can be anything. It can be your environment. You can see here, this is the office I work in. It's what I make YouTube videos in, but it's also the office I work in. I have cool lights. I have some interesting art hanging on the walls from tattoo artists and various other things. Anything in your environment can be a source of inspiration. Say you're stuck on a particular problem. You have a creative block going on. You're a writer or you're a designer, whatever. You're working on a new logo and you need a source of inspiration because you just got that block going on. Go outside, work on your back porch for the day, get some fresh air, take a walk. If you take 5 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, an hour to go outside and walk and just think through things, I've done some of the best thinking in my life on walks. I take the time to really just be alone and be in silence and think through things, analyze things. And I've solved some of the most difficult problems and gathered sources of inspiration from these walks throughout my life. Gather inspiration from unconventional areas. Maybe you look at some old weavings. This sounds weird, but this stuff works. Look at some old art. Look at some classic art. Look at some designs from the 80s and the 70s. How did they do things in the 70s and 80s? And use that as a source of inspiration. Just getting your mind thinking and your creative juices flowing will go a long ways to helping you gather inspiration for your next project. Go for a stroll through your local art museum or your local library. Look at how the masters were doing it 500 years ago. What was Da Vinci using to solve creativity and how was he laying things out? You'd be surprised, like inspiration hits you sometimes like a bat. You might be in the shower just thinking through things and you're like, ding, light bulb on. Oh, okay, that's how you solve that. I've also had some of my most creative and interesting ideas and solutions in the shower. It can come from anywhere. Inspiration can really, truly come from anywhere. Music can certainly be a source of inspiration. I have used this since I can remember, since I was a little kid. I've always loved music. Spotify is one of my oldest subscriptions that I have on file, right? I've had Spotify for years because I am daily listening to hours and hours of music. Maybe you switch up the music. Maybe you listen to classical one day. Maybe you listen to jazz one day. Maybe you listen to K-pop one day. Whatever it is, it can be surprising how you can gather inspiration and be inspired and get inspired from music. Take a camping trip. Just get out of the house for a few days. Go sit in a Starbucks. That can be a weird source of inspiration. People watching. Get up to the mountains. Go rent a cabin for a day. You'd be surprised. A lot of great writers and artists over history have done things like this, where they just lock themselves into isolation for a few days just to drown out the rest of the world and let that inspiration flow. One of my favorite tools for this is to look back on the work from your career. If you've been in the industry for a while, you've done designs years ago, it is super interesting to pull out that old portfolio if you still have it laying around and just look at the work you used to do. A, it gives you a lot of confidence because you're like, wow, I really have came a long ways. And B, it can inspire other sources of inspiration. This is something that I've learned a long time ago. I learned it from one of my first drawing teachers. He told me that, in a couple years when you're down your career path, pull out your portfolio and look at it. It will give you an admiration for how far you've came in your career. And another great source of inspiration, especially for me over the last few years, is to attend a conference if you can afford one or get your work to pay for one. Going to a conference every single time, when I come back, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel so inspired. I've learned so much from that 2 to 3 to 4 day conference that I come back with just almost too much inspiration, right? I don't even know where to start. So if you can get to a conference or some type of event like this, or join a meetup group and attend it locally every week, those types of things can be a great source of inspiration. And last little tip I have for you here today, especially as designers, a great source of inspiration is a folder on your desktop. And what I mean by this is, as you are going through your day-to-day life, you're looking at various websites, you're looking at how other people solve design problems or how they created a certain logo. Take a picture of that, take a screenshot of it, and throw it in a folder. Organize it however you want, but keep these things as sources of inspiration for later. I've used this so many times where I refer back to an old 80s looking design that I found in, a magazine or whatever. I snap a pic of it, I put it in this folder, and then I refer back to it later and I use that as a source of inspiration for a new project or design. And that's it. That is the topic that I had to cover for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow's topic is going to be on free work sucks. I'll explain more on that tomorrow. If you enjoyed the video today, please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you're interested in getting notified of future videos. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video.